Hey, what is up all you do-it-yourselfers? My name's Dylan Taylor and this is Dylan's DIY Workshop. Today I've got a video where we are bending wire again. I'm going to be showing you how to make these tiny little red leaves out of wire. A few things that you do need, and that is going to be some wire, and the thinner gauge wire is much easier to do this with. Here I'm using 18 gauge craft wire. It's aluminum craft wire, 18 gauge. You see that right here, and like you see, it's only $2 for 30 feet. And so that's not entirely bad, especially when it only takes maybe 2-3 inches to make one of these leaves. Now the other thing that you're going to want is a pair of pliers that looks like this. I don't know exactly what they're called, but each one of the teeth is a tiny little cone, so it's round, which makes it perfect for bending wire around. So what I do is I start off, so that I don't waste any material, I don't cut it off, I just bend it this way. Another thing before I get right into this, you're gonna need is a pair of wire cutters. You could use a pair like this if you have a pair that is at the end of a pair of pliers where it's just here. That'll also work. You're just gonna be better off with a pair of dedicated wire cutters. It'll make a nicer cut, easier to cut. And then optional is a pair of duckbill pliers or fishing pliers, something that doesn't have any lines on it, something that's smooth so that you don't damage the wire. Because if you're using colored wire like this, it's just anodized aluminum, so that means that the color is over the top of the aluminum, so it's really easy to bust it off by using something that'll mar it, which is something that has teeth and it'll boot up. You don't want to do that. Now another optional thing, to make the leaf flat, you're going to want to be able to hit it with a hammer or of sorts. Now a wooden mallet does work, I've tried it, but either way, whatever you use, you want it to be very, very smooth, because I was speaking of that anodization, which is that smooth coating. You don't want to bust that off by marring it. So what I use is this tiny little brass hammer, which I made completely myself from scratch with this brass and a piece of walnut for this handle. It is a very nice little hammer and it's very smooth. It's got rounded head on it on both sides. Very ergonomic to use and it's super light. I made that. There is a video on how I made that, so if you'd like to make your own, click up here in the top corner. I will leave a link to that, and also in the description, should I remember. So the other thing that I have that goes along with that brass hammer is this just slug of brass that I had laying around, and what I did to it was I sanded down the top so that it was smooth to 400 grit, because before it was only sanded to 100 grit, and when I would tap the leaves flat, it would leave a mark on the other side of the leaf. It would leave that pattern. So that's why you want it to be super smooth, is so that you don't end up with this rough, grainy pattern on the back where you don't see the shine of the color anymore. That's why you want both of these surfaces to be smooth. And I've had great success with the brass. It doesn't seem to do any damage to the leaf otherwise, and my hammers are doing fine. And because I think that this is softer than the brass, I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure somebody can let me know in the comments whether brass is softer than aluminum. So as you can see, I've got plenty of these leaves here. What I'm doing is setting it up for a wire bonsai tree that I will be making, and there will be a video on that as well. But what you want to do is grab these circle-toothed, circle-jawed pliers and just make yourself a little tiny loop that comes back around to itself. And then with the pliers still in that hole, you want to come back around and make an S shape. Take the pliers out, come back into the second loop, make another S shape, bend it further back, stick the pliers in that circle, and then make another loop, and then from there, grab onto the flat bit, make one more loop, and from there, you should have something that looks like this. But you're going for a shape that looks like this. Where we started, that's going to be the top of the leaf, and then we could just pull this bit down. This is going to be the bottom of the leaf where it goes around to the other side, and we're going to make 3 more loops, and the last loop is going to come straight down the middle of the leaf to become the stem. That way it's all one piece. The next thing that we do is we just grab this, and we're going to make another loop right here. Try to keep this in focus here. I didn't really explain it the last time I did it. So make a loop there. Keeping the pliers in that hole, we're going to loop it back. Now it's much easier when you do this yourself. I'm trying to show you on camera. Loop it back, but bend it a little bit further than it needs to go so that, well, it's hard to get the pliers out, but see how it's further than you want it to go? What that allows you to do is add that swooping shape. See how up here it goes in and cuts back a little bit? So then what we want to do is take our pliers. I hope that this is in focus enough for you guys. Put it in that hole, but have our other jaw out here. So we were just like this. Now we want to switch, put one jaw here, and then we're just gonna twist the pliers so that they're over here. So that we're gonna be, see this other jaw that's moving? That's where we're going to be making the loop around. So if we go down here and we kind of hold it open a little bit, we can make our loop around that, pull it back just a little bit further. Now we take that out and then we switch to that loop with our pliers and then come back around to the outside like so, and then go to that loop, and from there, that's where we're going to make our final loop that comes all the way back around. So that's where I bend it extra far. And then once we've got it bent extra far, see how it's kind of dilapidated looking? That's where we grab this top loop and then we add the pliers in here and then straighten it back out from there, and then grab it where it bends and bend it straight down the leaf. Now from there, we've got this not very good looking thing, but that's where I cut it off. I'm going to leave 1.5 inches. I hope that this is enough for when I actually make this tree. I'm leaving 1.5 inches so that I can wrap it around the branches, but we've got something that looks kind of gross like this, and that's where your duckbill pliers, which have no teeth, come in handy, or a pair of fishing line pliers that also have no teeth. This is where you're just going to do the final adjustments to the leaf, grab it up here, bend it around, and obviously this is going to look a lot better when you actually do it where you can see it rather than trying to hold it way up and get the camera to see it. So now it looks more like a starfish. But from there what we do is we go ahead and we lay it flat on our little brass stand here, or whatever stand it's going to be. Just make sure that it's smooth. I think you could probably do this on steel with a steel hammer. You just want to make sure that it's completely smooth, both the hammer and the piece that you're hitting it on, because any imperfections on the hammer is going to show right through to the aluminum. Same with the whatever you're hitting it off of. I was hitting it off vice jaws. That does work. So this is where we're going to hammer it flat. I find that as few hits as possible is tending to be the best, because there are little imperfections on my hammer, and the more times you hit it, the more times the color just disappears off of the wire. But once it's like this, you'll notice that there's a gap up there, and all we do to fix that is just bend it back with our other pair of pliers. Now that it's flat, we just do our final touches, and there's a leaf. It does not look as good as some of the other ones. Here's another example right here. When you actually take your time, it definitely looks better. So that, my friends, is how you make wire leaves flattened with 18 gauge wire. I hope this video has helped you guys out, and if you're making a wire bonsai tree, or if you're here from the future video that is not out yet or not even completed yet, that is how you make the leaf. And thank you so much for watching. A huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters for allowing me to keep creating videos the way that I do. If you guys want to help support my channel, that is the best way to do so. I will leave a Patreon link up in the top corner. There are different reward tiers to get, anywhere from a sneak peek all the way up to a poster that is signed by me, made by me, and then also a half-hour Skype call every month. So if you would like that, or if you'd like your name shouted out in every video, there's a tier for that too. Speaking of which, thank you to Randy, Robinbird, and Mike Maxwell. You guys are absolutely incredible. Those are the top tier Patreon supporters, and there's 2 spots left, I believe, on that tier if you'd like to join. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please share this video with a friend. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, give it a big old thumbs up. See you guys all next time. Peace out.